In today's mindful moment, I'm going to share with you a strategy called the ABC Mindfulness Check-in. The first 6 minutes are a really great explanation of social and emotional learning and why it's so important that we actually acknowledge our feelings. However, if you just want to get to the practice, skip through to the first 6 minutes, and that's where you'll find the ABC practice. Hi, friends, it's Amy Rubin from Mindful Self. Today, I want to share with you something that I like to call the ABC Mindfulness Check-in. So this is a really great practice that can help us when we're feeling overwhelmed, or maybe you're just not feeling like yourself. And it can also be really helpful in helping you to figure out how you're feeling. So in this, the A stands for accepting or allowing, the B stands for breathing, and the C stands for continue. Now, I know that feelings can be really scary sometimes, or maybe they're confusing, especially if we don't know what they are or we're trying to ignore them. Believe it or not, I actually used to do this all the time. I actually didn't know that there was any other way. So when I was feeling sad or angry, I would pretend like it wasn't true. I thought that feelings were either bad or good. And because I didn't want to be bad, I didn't want to feel those feelings. So instead of being bad, I would deny my feelings, or I'd push away my strong emotions, or I would distract myself from these feelings, these uncomfortable feelings, by eating too much or watching too much TV so that they didn't hurt as much or they didn't make me feel uncomfortable. And this is where, unfortunately, some unhealthy habits can come from when we are running away from our feelings, when we are trying to push them away. And what I realized over time was that by ignoring my emotions, they didn't actually go away, and it didn't actually make me feel any better. It's almost like they settled into my body and they were just growing layer by layer by layer, emotion by emotion. And eventually, something would happen. Oftentimes, it was something really small, like my sister said something that was mean, or we got into a little bit of a disagreement, or she wouldn't share something, or my mom would say something to me asking me to do a chore. And instead of handling that situation, instead, it was like, boom, I would explode. I wasn't really upset about the thing that was done to me, but I was more like I was reacting to all of the things that were done over this course of time and all of the feelings that were built up inside of me. So scientists who study our brain, they actually have some good news. They tell us that even the strongest of emotions, like anger and sadness, will actually appear and fade away within 60 to 90 seconds as long as we don't do anything to feed them. And what I mean about this is that we don't do anything to actually make them worse. So I think we've all done this before, including myself, where many times actually we start to become our feelings and we make them stronger and last longer because of this. So maybe it sounds something like, I'm sad, I can't see my friends, I'm never going to see my friends again, and this is the worst. I'm going to be sad forever. Now, maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you've had a situation where you had an emotion or a feeling or even a thought that started off kind of small, and then you can kind of see how it starts to snowball, and something small starts to grow bigger and bigger and bigger because of the way that we feed it. And that's kind of what the scientists are noticing, is that when we feed these emotions, they actually last longer. So thanks to mindfulness practices like the ABC method, I now know that feelings aren't good and bad. Instead, they're uncomfortable or comfortable. Now, I like to think as feelings as visitors that not only come and go, but as they come, they bring me messages and gifts telling me what it is that I need in that moment, trying to tell me a message. But most importantly, I've learned that I can't change my feelings, but I can handle them in a way that makes me feel stronger and calmer. Want to learn how? So, in the ABC method, A stands for allowing or accepting feelings without pushing them away or judging them as good or bad. During this first step, we'll actually explore our feelings so that we can see what they might be trying to tell us. B stands for breathing. And when we use our breath, we'll actually be using it to help us to explore and allow our feelings and maybe discover the places in our body that we can feel our emotions. We'll use our breath to actually send some heart thoughts and send some well wishes to those areas of our body so that maybe we can soften or relax them just a little bit. Or maybe, if nothing else, we can actually retrain the way we react to strong emotions in the future. So that instead of yelling or throwing or running away when we feel these strong emotions, we can actually stay calm and focused on our breath and retrain our superpower so that we can continue on our way. So let's get started. First, I want you to find a comfortable, maybe seated, maybe laying down position, one that allows you to relax, but also allows you to focus. So for today, I'm going to sit in a chair and I'm going to guide us through this ABC process. You can find a comfortable position where you can follow along for the next few moments. Throughout this practice, you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or you can leave them open. But know that no matter what you decide, you can always choose differently as time goes on, and you might find that keeping your eyes closed or keeping them open is something that makes it a little easier for you to follow along in this practice. So the first thing I want you to do, once you've found your comfortable position, keeping your eyes open or closing them just a little bit, whatever feels right, is I want you to start by taking a nice, big, deep breath. Filling our lungs and then exhaling. Again, breathing through your nose or your mouth, whatever feels right. And you might want to place your hands on either your chest or your heart or your stomach so that as you breathe, you can actually feel your breath. Now, next, I want you to start by scanning your body from your toes all the way up to your head. And as you do, continuing to breathe, and start to notice what your body feels like or what it feels like inside of your body. You might notice what feels comfortable and what doesn't. And just taking a moment to explore those areas of discomfort. Maybe they feel tight, or maybe you notice that they feel tingly, or maybe they just feel weird. Not only noticing what you're feeling, but where you're feeling and what that actually feels like. Seeing if you can use this as a chance to explore those areas with some curiosity. So for example, maybe it has a color, or maybe it has a texture. Maybe it feels sharp or heavy, or maybe it flutters and it moves. Just noticing and allowing whatever is there. Sometimes I find it helpful to actually name it or describe it. So I might say something like, it feels like there's a butterfly in my stomach, or it feels like my brain and my head feels really busy. Whatever you feel is okay, and however you describe it is perfect. This, my friends, is awareness, and this is a big part of allowing. So maybe your feeling has a name, and it can sound something like, I feel sadness, and that's okay. Or maybe I'm noticing worry, and that's okay. Maybe I'm noticing fear or overwhelm, and that's okay too. When we're allowing, we try our best to see not only what's in our hearts, but what's also in our minds, as well as in our bodies. so that we can make good choices for ourselves and train our smart parts. Now, bringing your attention back to your breathing, take another deep breath. And as you do, fill your heart with calm, with power, with strength, or with love. Whatever it is you feel like you need right now or feels important to you. And then, as you breathe out, see if you can send that breath to any of those places where you notice discomfort in your body. Do it again and breathe in wellness and well-being and send it to wherever it needs to go. And one last time, breathing in and sending that. Now, as our practice comes to an end, and before you actually open your eyes or start to move about your day, I want you to just take a moment to scan through your body and notice what you're feeling. Take a moment to remember this feeling. And remember that we can create this comfort and calm for ourselves by using this ABC check-in. And remember that each time we do this, we grow our muscles of awareness and our muscles of courage and strength, so that we retrain our brain to know that no matter what happens to us in our days and in our lives, no matter what happens in the world around us, we can handle this. Now, when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers as you start to bring some movement back into your body. When it feels right, you can open your eyes and reacquaint yourself with the space around you. And the last thing I want to remind you, friends, is to remember that what we practice grows stronger. And if you practice this ABC method, not only will you be growing your muscles of strength and awareness and focus, but you'll also be growing those muscles of resilience. And last but not least, please remember that one mindful moment a day is better than none, and it doesn't take much for us to practice paying attention on purpose so that we can be the very best that we can be. If you like this practice, please be sure to share it with others that you think might also find it helpful. And remember, you can always find me at mindfulself.com.